Hi, my name is JP Marshall, and I'm the president of Patriot Stainless Incorporated. We are a welding and mechanical contractor in Zanesville, Ohio, and we also do machining, crane work, rigging work, and we're starting to do some transport. Basically, we solve problems. So we were contacted by Fluid Power Solutions. They basically have a test rig that they had been developing for the previous 2 years, and they built this inside of a building, and then they figured out that they couldn't get it out. It was built too large for any of the egresses or doorways. There was no ramps that had a high enough capacity to be able to handle the load of the lift that it took to carry this unit, or the load of the actual weight of the unit itself. There's a lot of very, very complex facets of this rig. I don't know of maybe of a handful of companies in the nation that could have done this rig successfully. The machine itself is very heavy, very awkward. It's not very well balanced. On top of that, there are no ways to really handle the machine. There's no tag points. There's no ways to sling it. Basically everything you could think of to try to handle this did not work. For example, they had fork pockets under the unit. The fork pockets were large enough for a 5,000 pound forklift. The total unit altogether weighed over 70,000 pounds. So the proper lift to handle and move that load could not be used fork pockets to move it. We couldn't sling it, couldn't put slings through the structure because there was a lot of sensitive electronics and hydraulic lines running through the middle of the structure. We couldn't take a chance on damaging any of those because that would cause unnecessary delays. That would push out the delivery, cause excess work, and also have to be recalibrated. So the other problem was that once we got this disassembled, there was no way to really get it out the door. The door actually dropped off 4 feet as soon as you came out of the dock. So we had to figure out a way to get this out of the door because we couldn't take it down a ramp. There was no ramp that was heavy enough to handle the load capacity. So we had to basically improvise and source a freight deck trailer. The dock was actually atypical, so it was actually 4 inches lower than the deck height of a freight deck trailer. So there was no way to really slide it out onto the trailer, which what we had originally thought, without letting the air out of the tires. So we had to let the air out of the tires and block the axles and drain the airbags so that we could bring it down to deck height. And then we actually had to weld a ramp in place on top of the trailer in the floor of the loading dock to try to create a threshold to skid it out of the building. The doorway that we were actually pushing the unit through only had, they initially said 1.5 inches, but by the time we got all said and done, it only had 3/4 of an inch clearance. So there was no ability to use skates or put forks under it or lift it or suspend it in any way. It physically had to be skidded out of the door. And we used a series of UHMW custom-made skids and panels that we made here in-house and sourced from a truck stop to get it out of the door. We took the lift and pushed it through the door, and once it was outside on the trailer, we had to take a crane and lift it and sling it and get it set on the trailer for the final transport truck, which was taking it to Chicago. To make this thing to be able to be lifted and handled before we even moved it, we had to make our own custom anchoring points on the unit. We had to drill holes for shackles, clevises. We had to produce our own eye bolts and lifting apparatuses, and actually modify the structure and the frame of the hydraulic test unit so that we could lift it and handle it once we get it out the door. Those did nothing for us inside the building, but once we got it out the door, that's when we could use a crane to try to use these lift points. So overall, it was very short timing. The customer called us, I think, on a Tuesday to see if we could get this done for them. I did the site survey on a Wednesday and put everything together, did all the research work with my team, and we were actually up there on Thursday beginning the rig, taking everything down, trying to disassemble everything, and then doing the final loading on Friday to one of our transport trucks. And it was all oversized, over-dimensional, overweight loads, and they had to be permitted in every state on their way to Chicago. But we were able to deliver the units by 8 o'clock a.m., which was a requirement for the rigging team on the other end. And the rig went very successfully. Everything was streamlined and ready to roll for the team on the other end, so we were actually able to save the customer a lot of money because they were able to use the modifications that we made to more readily upfit and assemble the unit.
Skype here.
So overall, we're grateful for the business. You know, we like challenges. If you guys have any kinds of problems, technical problems, challenges, anything you need created, moved, rigged, or just developed, feel free to reach out to us. I love problem solving, and I'm always available.